Hey guys, this is Kate, and in this second part of the tutorial I will show you what to avoid when painting with watercolor pencils and how to use the shading technique to get interesting texture. If you still haven't seen the first part of the tutorial, I will leave the link in the description, so do check it out first and then come back to this one. Let's choose the colors first. I want to make a kind of grainy texture with shaving the pencil, and for that I will choose 4 browns. 1 for the base color, a darker one for the shadow, and 2 for shaving the speckled texture on top. Take a look at how some colors when activated with water look different from the pencil color itself. This is why it is a good idea to keep color swatches at hand. Let's draw the sphere now. Same as before, I used the base color to draw with. I put the color down to lift with my brush and then paint over the sphere. Now I pick up the dark brown and paint the shadow, blending it in with the lighter brown. Don't forget the reflected light. Now I want to add my shavings while the layer is still wet. I shave 2 browns all over the sphere. Now I will show you what not to do. If you want your speckles to stay, do not pass over them with a wet brush, as that will activate the pigment and you will lose all the textury look. Let's blend this out a bit. Another thing to avoid is drawing with your pencil on wet paper, unless you are doing it on purpose to create some texture. If you want a smooth transition, you will never achieve it by drawing on wet. Each pencil mark will dig into the surface of the paper and you will not be able to blend it. Let's do another brown textured sphere, but this time doing it right. To change things up a bit, I activate the dry pigment with my brush, as I did with the blue sphere in the first part of the tutorial. I try to make a smooth transition between the darks and lights, and not forgetting about the reflected light, of course. I shave the pencils while the paint is still wet, making sure that I shave all over the sphere and even outside of it. If the shavings fall onto the white of the paper, it's completely fine. I will blow on them and they will fly away, but the ones that are on the wet surface will stay. Now, all that's left to do is to add some shadow and blend it out, making sure I have the darkest part right under the sphere. I have a pencil mark that I don't need. I can lift that with water and some clean tissue. There, now we have a speckled sphere. It could be some wooden texture or even rock. Let's do another one, but this time I will blend it out with my water brush pen. I wanted to show you how different the same technique looks when using a brush or the water brush pen. Here's a tip about sharpening the pencils. I always rotate the sharpener and never the pencil. This way the tip of the pencil is less likely to break. And remember that if you break any tips while sharpening or for any other reason, you can always use them to paint with them later. Just dissolve them in water. I use the Prismacolor sharpener or Milan sharpener. Both have 2 different sharpening shapes and both work good. I didn't have any issues with either one of them. Both might break your tip, but you have to be careful about that. So another thing I wanted to show you is that you can use the texture of the paper to create a texture on your object. After I blend my first sphere, I go over the sphere with a dry pencil. As I am using a cold pressed paper that has a nice texture to it, the pencil will layer only over the top of the surface and not go into the crevices and leave the sphere with a beautiful textury look. You can use 2 different colors. For example, you can use a dark one and a light one on top, a bright light one on top, that's what I like to do. And basically, when you pass with your bright color over the dark one will shine through the crevices that the bright one didn't get into, and that's gonna create a beautiful effect. And another tip is to use a blunt pencil when you're using it to create the texture on top, because that way the tip of the pencil is too wide for the small crevices in the paper, and it's going to pass only over the very top of the hills and valleys that there are in the texture of the paper. This is it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, click like and subscribe to my channel. I will be doing more tutorials and tips and tricks videos on watercolor and watercolor pencils, and if you have any ideas that you would like me to do the tutorial about, leave a comment. I was thinking of doing the next video about feathers or about the most common watercolor pencil mistakes, so let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao!